doing great. I'm better than good, better than most, and sometimes even better than that.
Man, it's good to see you. If you don't
Same
mind,
here.
I'm going to eliminate the comments for right now so that words aren't on your face so I can see you. How are you? You good?
Erica, I'm doing real good. Things are extremely well. I mean, February 17th, I turned, pull that closer, please. I turned 76, and I'm still hungry.
Wait, what do you mean? 76 what?
76 years old.
You're 76? Man, go on, man.
Come on, man.
For 76. Yeah. Come on now.
But let me share something with you that happened to me this past weekend.
Yes, sir.
You're the first to interview me about this, and you didn't want to interview me about this. Okay. You know I'm adopted. Never known anything about my birth parents. And my son, my oldest son, he went on Instagram. I mean, he went on, what's that they call Ancestry?
Ancestry.com.
And the other one is called 323 or something or whatever.
Right.
Yes. And so come to find out, he located where my parents were from. And I've never laid eyes on a picture of my mother or father until this past weekend.
Wow.
And guess what?
What?
She was a motivational speaker.
What?
Yes. Dorothy Bell Rooker.
Wow.
And her mother, Bueller, she was a motivational speaker and educator as well.
What God.
And so, and they built a museum in honor of her because they educated Black people in Gainesville, Georgia.
Okay.
At a time there was no school in that area for them to get an education. And so she educated them and taught them how to read and taught other students how to teach other students how to read. And it's been an experience. And I met a brother yesterday that I didn't know that I had. And I'm going to meet the other one tomorrow. Yes.
That is awesome because everything's about family and God. So you putting all the pieces together, man.
This is true. This is true. It's been the missing piece of the puzzle. It's something I wanted to know, Michael, but it's not something that I needed to know. That my adopted mother's love was so encompassing. I always say when I start out speaking that I'm here because of two women. One gave me life. The other one gave me love. That God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And so it was just great, another piece to the puzzle. And it's been fascinating seeing how certain things happen because of nature, certain things happen because of nurture. And I think it's a combination of both. And it's been quite an experience seeing pictures and hearing stories about my birth mother as well as my birth father.
Do you look like them? Do you think you look like them?
Oh, without question, yes. My brother here that I met for the first time, he said, when I got out of the car, he said, he looks just like Mama.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it's great. And somebody asked him, said, did you ask him any questions about how this happened? He said, no, he's here. It doesn't matter. We're going to move forward with love. And that really meant a lot to me. I didn't think that that going back and trying to find out what happened and why have I been this secret, it doesn't matter. The fact is that I've connected I have two brothers and I have nieces and nephews, and they're so excited that Les Brown is their uncle. So we're having a great
So they're just finding out too?
Yes, they didn't know.
What?
She did not tell, and he did not tell. Yes.
That's
came down to Miami and had twins, and then came back up here to Gainesville, Georgia, the Randolphs and the Ruckers.
Wow. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. My roots was traced back to Ghana, but I ain't know nobody. But the good thing is that is a great gift that someone would give you, that they would take their time and find that out for you. That's high.
And I appreciate that very much. Absolutely. And I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you, King. I'm glad that you're here with me. You're the best of the best. You know, I always tell the story. You're the first one to motivate me to make a purchase on the phone. I would never even consider buying something on the phone. And I woke up one morning like 3:30 in the morning. The TV was on, and you was running across the stage talking about you got to be hungry. Yeah. And I said, well, what is wrong with him? You know? And I sat up, and I could not lay back down. All I could see is all the energy and all the positivity and the drive that you were putting out there that anyone could access. And I got on the phone, and I got, well, then I don't think anybody ever heard what I'm about to say was cassette tapes.
Right.
I got an 8-pack of cassette tapes, and brother, I listened to everyone, and they really helped me. They really gave me more drive and more energy, you know. Mm-hmm. What made you think or decide to be a motivational speaker? What part of your life did you say, hey, I'm going to help other people by showing them how to drive?
Because when I was in the 5th grade, as you know my story, I was labeled educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. Mm-hmm. And then I failed again at the 8th grade at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami, Florida. We were poor, but we didn't know it.
Right.
And so I met this teacher who had a similar personality like yours. See, I was in his class waiting on another student. He said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, do it anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And then the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. And he asked, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And they erupted in laughter. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Do you hear me? And I said, yes, sir. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. What you do with this program, you distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract people from the current story that life has given them, how they define themselves. Mm-hmm. And you, as you interview people, you dismantle their current belief system on how they see themselves, and you inspire them to make new choices. And that, to me, is the greatest need we need more than ever before. When you live in a culture where you are dismissed, where you're demonized, and where your sense of self has been destroyed. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who wrote The Miseducation of the Negro, he said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that it drives you to motivate people because, I mean, millions of people have been motivated by you, not hundreds of thousands, literally millions of people over these years. And even you have your son doing the work as well. He's now a motivator.
Yes.
You know? And isn't your daughter, isn't Lena also a motivator?
Yeah, Ona. Yeah, she's a motivator speaker as well. Yes. And she's doing real good. They both are. And so you got to pass the torch, you see. Yes. And so when you think about where we are right now, we're in a place where we have to really be vigilant and understand that yesterday was just a moment in history, a moment that we got some justice. Today in Columbus, Ohio, where I used to be a disc jockey, LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing Papa. There were none before me and there will be none after me.
No. You got to tell the whole story. You got to tell that whole story. Please.
Yeah, okay, but let me tell you this. I can't tell on top of that. They just killed a young girl. She called the police because two girls were driven to her house for a confrontation. Just imagine that. A parent drove her daughter to fight someone. This young girl, she calls the police. These two girls had a knife. She had a knife. She came out and she had thrown her knife down when the police got there and shot her in the chest 4 times.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's something that Benjamin Franklin said, and we're going to see the manifestation of that. He said, until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are affected, change will never come.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are a lot of people who before they were just witnesses. There's the victim, they're the perpetrator, and they're the witness. The question is asked, which is the worst? And the answer is always the witnesses, the people who stand by, watch, and don't do anything. That little girl who held that camera and captured that, had she not done that, that guy would have gotten off with murder.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. And I was fired in Columbus, Ohio 46 years ago for editorializing on police brutality and deadly use of force by police, because it was called the Kahiki Incident, a restaurant on Broad Street in Columbus. There was a dispute about the bill, and they beat a Black Vietnam veteran who was holding his 4-month-old baby and trying to protect the baby so it would not be hit, and they beat him.
Wow. And you spoke about it on your show.
I editorialized about it. I talked about it. And as a result of that, they were fired. And then they fired me shortly thereafter because there was a very special election going on. Dr. John Roseman, who was running for mayor, the first African-American to run for mayor in Columbus, Ohio. And they said he had no chance. Well, I know how to bring an audience out. You give me a microphone, I can move an audience.
Right.
And so I had all the disc jockeys. I said, don't come in today, because I knew they were not going to play my public service announcements of get out to vote. And we turned out 95% of the vote in every Black precinct. That's never happened in a non-presidential year. And so before November, they rehired Jim Hughes, the safety director at that time, rehired these guys after they got me off the air, because they knew I would have gone ballistic. When I was younger, I was a bad dude up in here.
You're still a bad dude. Can you tell that story about radio? How you broke into radio? That's my favorite story of yours. I love that story.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question, because people that are listening, your story has value. And what I do now, you learn, you earn, you pass it on. I've earned millions of dollars telling my story, but we all have stories that we can use. We have knowledge, we have experience, we have expertise that we can use to transform people individually and collectively. I want to become a disc jockey. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about the things that you want to do. And as you think about them, I want you to know you got to be hungry. I remember Mr. Washington said, young man, what do you want to do with your life? I said, I'd like to be a disc jockey, sir. I want to buy my mother a home. And he said, you got to be hungry. And I said, what do you mean by that? People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Young man, you got to be hungry. People that are hungry are selective of their relationships. They practice OQP, only quality people. I said, yes, sir, I'm hungry. I'm adopted, and I want to thank my mother for adopting us, sir. He said, here's my card. You want to be a disc jockey? Go see Milton Butterball Smith, a WMBM radio station on Miami Beach. I trained him. Let him know I sent you. So I went there. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, young man, you have any journalism in your background? No, sir, I don't. You have any experience in broadcasting? No, sir, I don't. But if you give me a chance to audition, sir, I'll show you how good I am. I visualized myself being a disc jockey. He said, no, we don't have any job for you. I was devastated with the rejection. I went back and I said, Mr. Washington, they said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative to have to say no 7 times before they say yes. He said, you got to be hungry. Go back again. I went back again. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Weren't you here yesterday? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no yesterday? Yes, then why are you back today? Sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or somebody was fired, sir. No one was laid off or fired. Now get on out of here. I came back the next day, talking loud, looking happy, like I was seeing you for the first time. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you? My name is Les Brown, sir. I like to be a disc jockey. Weren't you here the last 2 days? Yes, sir. Didn't I tell you no the last 2 days? Yes, sir. Then why are you back today? Well, sir, I didn't know whether or not someone got sick or someone died, sir. No one got sick or died. No one was laid off or fired. Now, don't you come back here again. I came back the next day, talking loud, looking happy, like I was seeing you for the first time. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you? He looked at me with rage. He said, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. My favorite book says, the greatest among you will be your servant. So I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I'd go get their lunch and their dinner, and I would serve them. But when I went in the control room, I watched their hands on the control board, knowing my time will come. People that are hungry expect to win, and they prepare themselves. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
That's right.
So I was preparing myself by watching and serving them. And then on the weekend, they would come out to the parking lot and their cars be clean inside out and waxed. And I said, hey, who did this? I did, sir. How much you charge, young boy? Oh, nothing. I just wanted to help out. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I wanted them to see me as a resource, as a go-to person. They said, look, here are my car keys. Donna Ross and Supremes are coming to town. Four Tops, Temptations, Gladys Knight and the Pips. I married her.
That's
Pick them
right.
up in my big Cadillac. Take them to the Fontainebleau Hotel on Miami Beach. I said, yes, sir. I would drive them all over Miami Beach. Didn't have any driver's license. Well, I'll drive them. And then one day, it was a Saturday afternoon, a disc jockey by the name of Rockin' Roger was drinking while he was on the air. Rock got so drunk he could not complete the show. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room window, walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry.
Come on now.
I was saying, drink, Rock, drink. Drink. I don't get him some more if he'd asked me to. And then pretty soon the phone rang. It was general manager. I said, hello. He said, boy, do you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, I want you to call one of the other DJs in and see if any of them are available. I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mama and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn on the radio. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes and I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, are you sure you can work those controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, you go on there and segue those records, but don't you say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I hooked that phone up. I couldn't wait to get old Rock out of the way. Stevie Wonder was 12 years old at that time. He had a song called Fingertips. And I went in and that was my first song that I played. I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. There was a guy who came out to L.A., we called him the Great Montague. He worked at the radio station. He was one of my mentors, as well as Milton Butterball Smith. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that was an experience. I was out in LA for a few weeks doing a radio show on CBS. Mm-hmm. You know, this time where we are, laughter is very important. I'm a 4th stage cancer conqueror, as you know.
Yes.
In 29 years. And laughter, it fortifies your immune system. A guy named Norman Cousins, he was a physicist, and he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And he watched I Love Lucy movies and Jimmy Durante. Good night, good night, good night, good night, Miss Calabish, wherever you are. And Jack Benny and all these old
Marx Brothers, everybody. Go ahead.
Yes, and laughed himself back to good health. So I laugh a lot, and I watch positive things, and I do things that make a difference in life, to live a life that will outlive me. That's where I am at 70.
Wow.
I still got the fire in my belly.
I'm trying to get over you being 76. Well, black don't crack. Clearly.
No, but without jerking hand lotion or some Vaseline, it will get rusty.
That's right. I want to thank you for signing my book, and not for signing it, but for doing the foreword. Your foreword, I tell people, is almost better than the book. And your 1-page foreword, it brought tears to my eyes. It warmed my heart, and it also co-signed for me that this book is worthy of me selling to people. You know, you heard the poems and you liked them so much. And do you remember your first sentence you wrote?
No.
But Maya Angelou.
I'm 76.
I got to read this. And I read it on my show earlier today on my morning show. This book, incidentally, anyone who doesn't know, is my poetry book called Miss Innocent Goes to Cool School and Other Silly Stuff. It's a poetry book for adult children. So Les and I sat in his hotel, laughed and cried over these 5 or 6 poems I wrote. And he wrote this: I have been fortunate to meet many talented and gifted people. 2 who stand out most in my mind for their ability to change people's lives with the power of the written word are Maya Angelou and Michael Colyar. That meant the world to me. You want to talk about a mentor? That meant everything to me, you know? So thank you.
You have an insight, an intuitive skill, not just to make people laugh, but to make people think beyond the obvious. Mm-hmm. And as we look at where we are right now, what laughter does, laughter is a lubricant that takes the friction out of living.
Nice.
And so when people are able to laugh, it takes them away from their worries and their stress, because those thoughts of stress and worry, they're driven by thoughts. When people laugh, they don't think. The mind shuts down.
Nice.
Yeah, that's why I use laughter in my presentation. When I'm getting ready to make a point, I use laughter strategically. You can do what I do extremely well because you know how to make people laugh. And it takes courage to be a comedian. Mm-hmm. And so I use laughter when I get ready to make a point. I use laughter to cause people to laugh. And when they do that, their mind shut down and their heart opens up. And then I come with a point. You never make a point without a story. You never tell a story without a point. And by the time they gain consciousness, I'm in their heart. My goal is to give a heart-driven message that will ignite their spirit.
What is your quote about when you fall down, fall on your back?
Yeah, if you get knocked down in life, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
I want to jump in this box for a moment. We have 13 questions in here. Some of them probably just greetings. Let's see. As far as his self-help classes, is it really you sending the emails?
My staff, they do that. Yeah, Hungry to Speak. They handle that. That's below my pay grade. Yeah. The hungry, just people who have a story or want to develop the skill, and this is a speaker's dream. This place where we are, because as you are aware, we've gone from brick and mortar to click and order, and so this time, if you have knowledge, some skills, some experience, or just a hunger to make a difference in people's lives, and want to learn a new way in which you can generate income virtually in the safety of your home, this is the place to be. Before the coronavirus, it was projected that the online learning was going to be a $77 billion business. In less than 10 years, it would be $800 billion. Now it's gone through the roof. And so this is a place where people who want to be consultants or experts, I mean, doctors are now examining people online. Lawyers are representing people. Court proceedings are being held online. It's a different world. So you have to throw your net on the other side. If you're willing to learn, no one can stop you. But if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. So this is a time that you want to be on top of your game and learn all that you possibly can, so that you will have non-performance income. As I'm speaking to you now, I have intellectual material that's being sold. And so my goal, and I think all of us want to create as many streams of income, of non-performance income, because knowledge is the new currency, as well as this being the attention economy.
That's true. Someone said they just want you to know they're grateful that you found your sibling. That was Bonnie Chambers. They want to know, are you speaking about the family in Ohio, about the young teen where the police shot him? And I can just answer that. You just did. So I know you are. How did you find the fountain of youth? Somebody asked.
I use cocoa butter. Listen, Columbus, Ohio. I used to be a disc jockey there. Think about this. 46 years ago, September the 22nd, I was fired for editorializing on police deadly use of force. 46 years ago. This will not stop until police are personally liable. People sue the city. But if a policeman knows if he kills somebody unlawfully or brutalizes somebody, he can lose his home, he's going to stop and think.
May I say this? Dick Gregory said to me exactly the same thing.
Absolutely.
Dick Gregory said, until you personalize it to the police officer, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, they're not going to stop. They're trained to do it. And the departments have been permeated for years. And the FBI knows it, and they've admitted that recently with white supremacists and Ku Klux Klan members. They've known this. It's a part of the culture. So when you're in a culture that does not recognize your humanity, they can do anything to you and won't feel anything.
That's right.
Yes.
Wow. Someone said they were in 6th grade. What was this? The first time I heard Mr. Brown speak, I was in 6th grade. That's Rogest. And he shaped my life that I live today. and he just wanted to say he thanks you. So Mr. Les, Fighting Cupcake says, Mr. Les, when I listen to your speeches in my sleep, whoa, she said, wait, when I was recovering from cancer, I listened to your speeches in my sleep. Thank you for helping me kick cancer's ass.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Somebody told me, yeah. And the thing is that we are more powerful than cancer. And I'm an example of that. Cancer Centers of America here in Atlanta said, when I went in, they said, do you know you've been dealing with fourth stage cancer for 29 years? I said, yes. And they said, do you realize that it metastasized to 7 areas of your body? I said, yes. I said, man, I feel sorry for you. I had to be dealing with this for 29 years. I said, don't feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for the cancer. I'm the hell out of it. The cancer in my neighborhood dropped by 97%.
Wow. The cancer's losing in that case.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, baby. At 76, how has your message changed as you motivate others today? And congratulations on connecting with your family.
It's just what I have done is looking back on my life, that it's not about changing, it's about transformation. And there is a difference. No matter how fast a caterpillar runs, it can never fly. Yet he has to go through a transformation. And life is full of disruptions and transformation, things that will disrupt our lives, and we have to transform ourselves to accommodate that disruption. And we have to make a decision of what direction we will take. We make decisions, and our decisions make us. That's the value of life, and living from a place of self-examination, self-awareness, because once you are engaged in a process of continuously discovering who you are, whatever life throws at you, you're going to be able to accommodate it. But if you stop finding and discovering what are the things that I have working against me and the things that I have working for us, what's working for me, we need to know that, because most of our behavior is behavior that we pick up through conversation, through observation, and through experiences. And between the ages of 0 and 5, the conversations that we hear, the things that we see, a word is formulated in our heart. It's either yes or it's no. And being on the path of self-development help you to begin to get a peek of who you were intended to be. Most people living a misplaced life. We're all born unique, but most of us die copies. You remember the Truman story, this movie, and what was the guy, Carrey?
Yeah, Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, when he discovered that his life was real and everybody else was performing, he said, the question was asked of the guy who created that setup, will he leave? And that guy said, no. And he was asked the question, why not? And the answer was, most people accept the life that they have been given. He's not going to leave. But he did leave. There's people who, because of their level of awareness, as their awareness expands, they say, no, this is not me. You had a moment like that in your life. You were for years living a life that was not you. I went through that in my life. Many people watching and listening to us. And we came to a point where we understood where we said, until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, we will never change. We will never transform our lives. But there's a defining moment. I remember Denzel in this movie, it's called Touch. There are moments in life, there's before this and there's after this, and after this, nothing. It never will be the same again. And we all have those defining moments.
So how important is courage?
Listen, I spent a day with Maya Angelou, and she said something I'll never forget. She said, courage was the most important virtue. She said, nothing is done without courage. Nothing. And that's real. That just think about things that you've decided that I'm going to do this now. That you tap into the courage and you say, if I make it, fine. If I don't make it, fine. But it's not okay if I stay here. Right. And courage is not the absence of fear.
Come on.
Courage is the willingness to act in spite of the fear. That's why I said earlier, it takes courage to be a comedian. Because when you say something and you just know it's going to be funny, well, there are audiences that have their own personality.
Yeah.
Be funny to one audience, but it's not funny to another audience. And when it falls flat and you hear crickets, it takes courage to bring you back up on stage again and say, let me try this again.
or even finish that show.
That's
show.
Right.
I know I've had times I'll perform and I wouldn't hear laughter. I just start sweating. Because you immediately think that your piece ain't working. And sometimes it don't even be that the joke ain't working, Les. Sometimes the way the audience is sat, they're so far away from you that you barely hear the laughter, but they rolling. And I'll get off the stage and I'm sweating. And I say, damn, they didn't laugh at nothing. They said, dude, are you crazy? They were rolling out there. I'm like, dude, I was on the stage, I couldn't hear it. And my mind couldn't hear it. So I was just drenched with sweat. And actually, I'd done all right, you know?
Yeah, but you can be in a place like when you speak or you do your routine internationally, your jokes have to be culturally sensitive. There's things that I've said on stage in the United States that people laugh. But when I was in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, when I was in South Africa, when I was in the UK, when I was in Hong Kong, I didn't find it funny because that was not a part of their culture. So what I learned from that experience is to go early and do an assessment to learn what are the sweet spots, what are the things that I need to avoid, and what are the things that I need to do to make this a great experience. Because it's all about creating an experience.
I want to piggyback on what somebody else had asked because I think about this myself as an artist. They said 76, how have your stories changed? And my thing is, I've been around a while myself. So I've been doing this like 36 years. But I still have some stories that I was telling when I first started because those stories are still magical and still healing. So do you ever swab out all the stories and start anew, or do you bring in some new and use some old? What is your formula?
It's exactly what you said. Some new and some old. There's the story, you've got to be hungry. That has earned me well over $60 million. When I speak in the United States, I get $70,000 an hour. When I speak outside of the United States, I get $225,000 an hour. And all the
That's
places
a good hour.
It's a good hour. All the places that I've been invited, they say, don't forget to tell the story of how you became a disc jockey. See, all of us have a signature message. We know about Barack Obama because the audacity of hope. Jesse, I am somebody, Eddie Jakes, woman, thou art loose. Brown, you got to be hungry.
Yes.
Malcolm, by any means necessary. Adam Clayton Powell, keep the faith, baby. And so, the great monarchy, burn, baby, burn.
Right.
So all of us have something that will resonate with the masses. And the issue or the opportunity is to skew the story so that it becomes the story of the audience. So they take on your story, they begin to look at their lives through the lens that you have created, that expanded beyond who they are and how they see themselves, so that they show up differently in their lives.
Wow. We're getting a master class here, just talking to you basically. Okay, I gotta hop in and ask a couple more questions. Someone said, how do others motivate such a motivator as yourself?
Oh, listen, you have to be open to subjugate your ego. Ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help, and don't stop until you get it. I've had situations that I needed to ask for help, even now, because things happen to you, things happen to people that you care about. When my daughter was diagnosed, my youngest daughter, with COVID-19, my oldest son said, "Daddy, I want to tell you something, but don't get upset. Your heart starts beating if you're a parent."
Immediately.
Yeah, I got upset. He said, "Serena, she has coronavirus." I said, "Oh my God." He said, "Don't call now. Collect yourself and call. You got to be strong for her." And Will has it too, her husband. Now, mind you, she's a real brown. So I said, "Baby, how you doing?" "Daddy, I've been feeling real sick, and I can't smell. I don't have any taste, and my body is very achy." I said, "Baby, I'm so sorry." I said, I want you to load up on vitamin C and zinc and transfer factor and sea moss and drink a lot of alkaline water and get your rest. Okay?" She said, "Yes." Oh, but she said, "But don't hang up now." I said, "Why?" She said, "There's something I need to share with you. You told us always to look for the positive in things." I said, "What's the positive in this?" She said, "Well, I don't mind my not being able to smell." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because Will fought so much. I don't." I said, "I'm your father. I don't need to hear that. Too much information."
She found the positive in it.
Yeah, she said, "I can't smell his farts. This is good. This is working for me." I said, "Oh my God, that's my daughter."
Well, at this point, I want to open back up the comments. So as we wind down, if anybody just want to say stuff, a lot of people don't have questions, but they want to just say hi to you. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, I'm bringing the comments back up. We're speaking to Les Brown, motivational speaker to the stars, a life coach, a teacher, a premier keynote speaker, and just a cold brother, a family man. I love John Leslie. Me and John Leslie been friends since he's like 10,
Yes.
So now folks are putting their hearts up to say thank you. Somebody asked me about a movie I was in called Uncle P. Was I a bus driver? Yes, that was 114 years ago. Thank you, and yes. People saying thank you. It's amazing stuff you said. You're still the best in the business. Les Brown, I want to thank you so much. Les Brown, thank you for helping reach my dreams. Help me reach my dreams. Loving Les Brown. Very powerful speaker. I love it. Look at those hearts going up. So
yeah, I want to suggest this to people right now. This is the time you want to build mental resiliency. I'm encouraging them to go to on YouTube Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. I'm speaking to over 80,000 people. I was frightened out of my wits.
Wow.
But I did it. And they're going to get a lot of value out of that. Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. The other one is It's Possible. Watch that on a regular basis. And another one called Getting Unstuck. And they watch those three on a regular basis. What you listen to, you turn into. Listen to what I said. What you listen to, you turn into. We saw on our watch our children transform, listening to rap music, sagging pants, HIV, hood-infected virus, AIDS, addiction to incarceration and death syndrome, loss of any sense of decency. I train kids, and I was talking to some kids who saw Snoop in an interview the other day, and he was, as every other word was F this and F that. And they said, Snoop does it. I said, what did I teach you? Profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind. And where we are right now, when I was a kid, the only thing that separated a kid from an adult was the information that they were exposed to. That's the only thing. Now, kids are exposed to everything. This is the first time in the history of the planet. If you watch Netflix, and this is something that's called it's called a dilemma. What is it? Oh my goodness.
What is it again?
It deals with the social media dilemma. They've developed algorithms that know more about us than we know about ourselves. That most people don't take the time to know themselves. They now have technology that if you come into a room and there are women on one side and men on the other, by your eye movements, they can tell you if you're homosexual or whatever your sexual orientation is.
Right.
Okay? So with subliminal advertising and social media algorithms, our minds are being impacted. That's why I said, what you listen to, you turn into. Nothing can get through except through the eyes and the ears. So in order for us to overcome the mental conditioning, in order for us to come out victoriously in and out of this pandemic, because all kind of messages we're being bombarded with right now.
Yes.
We don't know, should we take the shot or not take the shot? And then it's, you just take one and it's done, one and done. Now they're talking about a third shot. Then some people say, well, you don't need the shot. And that one guy recently who said, you don't need the shot. Now he's sick as hell. You know, you just don't know. So I'm in the house. I ain't coming out till 2027. Oh, man. Wow. This thing called life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I want to say about that. Wow. Okay, what you listen to is what you turn into. You have said so many gems. I'm sorry that I'm writing as I'm interviewing, but you keep saying stuff, and I got to put this down because some of this, you're going to hear me say, wait, you said something. You said something one day, and I told you, I said, man, I'm going to steal that. Yeah. I said, I'm telling you right now, and I can't remember what it was, but it just blew my mind. It was so great. You know, because our mission here is to touch people and change people.
Without any doubt. Yes. And here's something. I'm not a religious person,
Mm-hmm.
Religious people are afraid of going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual people have been there. And
we already did.
And to me, hell is what you experience when you die and you meet the person that you were supposed to become.
Wow. Wow.
Hell is what you experience when you die and you meet the person that you were supposed to become.
Yeah, that's hell. That's definitely a good definition for hell. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, for me, out of all of this, profanity is the strongest expression
of a weak mind.
Of a weak mind. That is so cold. That's
when you're working with kids because they want to do what we do.
Wow. People work with who they know. People like to spend money with who they know, like, and trust. We are dismissed, demonized, and destroyed. Mm-hmm. All of these things are strong points that we can build on and make our lives better, man. You know, if we know a thing. You know, the thing about a trick is a trick ain't a trick if you know the trick. But if you don't know the trick, then the trick's on you. You know?
Yes.
My oldest brother, my next to oldest brother, Yolan, had told me, I was with a network for a while, and I did a great show, and I was killing it. But I didn't know that in the back room, they was cutting me up like a fan steak. I didn't know. Nobody ever told me. I would just come to work, and do my thing. I just knew we was going to get another season. Next thing I know, I was out of the job. And then I found out later that in the boardroom every day, they was trashing me while I was working. It was like, man, you everything. Keep doing what you're doing. And back then, like, oh, he ain't nothing. And he's doing this. I didn't know. So I asked my brother what happened. He said, well, you know, the thing is, you didn't see where the rocks were. So he said there was a story of a kid, and there was a prince. And every evening, as the sun would go down, the prince would walk across the water. And everybody would hide in bushes to watch this miracle. And he would walk across the water, and no one had the courage to step out and speak to him. And one day a child stepped out and said, sire, you have to tell me, what is the secret of walking across the river? And he said, the secret, my son, is you have to know where the rocks are. I didn't know where the rocks are, man. You know? And so a trick ain't a trick if you know the trick. It's important to know it. And that's why I have to learn these things. I want to do a shout out right now to Miss Melba Moore, who's been watching you for at least the last 20 minutes. And so I just want to send love to her from you and me.
Absolutely. Oh, man, she's an incredible person. I want to just share this with you. We're in the best place we've ever been in this country. This is a golden age.
Yes.
The road we trod, bit of the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet, with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We've come over a way that with tears have been watered. We've come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. I say that you were cancered because Marion White said, and I agree with him, when you don't have enough insight and knowledge to know that you have outgrown a situation and it's time to move on, life will move on you.
Wow.
Okay.
So you don't have enough insight to know it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Life.
If you don't have enough courage and insight to know that it's time to move on, life will move on you. Life moved on you. Life moved on me. Now, now it's a level playing field.
Right.
It's a level playing field. This computer, my son and I were just talking today at home in my Mickey Mouse pajamas. We've generated over $1 million worth of business. When I first started out, it took me 3 years to earn my first $1 million. But now I'm speaking from home virtually and making more money. I spoke in 3 different countries today, virtually, because the technology eliminates geography.
Yeah.
It's easier now to get wealthy than at any time in history. So this is, it's about learning how to use this technology. For instance, Michael, let's take you for instance.
Okay.
You can write a book called Reclaiming Your Life Ain't Funny, but you can do
That's
it.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
Title the book. And you can write that book, right?
Right.
So you write this book from the time when you had given your life over to substance, right? Reclaiming your life ain't funny, but you can do it. All right? So you got a book. Then you get someone like Celeste Johnson, my business partner, who will expand that book into an online course. And let's say, hypothetically speaking, $297. All right?
For the course.
For the course.
Okay.
Online course, non-performance income, can sell it around the world. Then you take that online course, you make money from the speech, Reclaiming Your Life Ain't Funny, but you can do it. You make money from the speech, you make money from the book, you make money from the online course, and you make money from a weekend retreat, a mastermind.
Wow.
If you just follow the process that I give you with just that title, you can make $1 million before the end of the year if you screw it up.
Wow.
Because what you're doing now is one of the most important things that we must do. 1, mindset resiliency. 2, continuously learning, and that's who you are. If you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you're willing to learn, no one can stop you. And 3, creating collaborative, achievement-driven, supported relationships. So I will endorse that book and write the forward for it. Endorsement brings credibility and it brings audience.
Wow.
So now you're controlling your own destiny. I was, for 2 hours when I was at CBS out there, from 2 o'clock until 4, I said, I want to do my show from home like Dave Ramsey. They said, no, we want you here. We want you under our thumb. I said, I'm not an under your thumb kind of guy. He does his from home. I want to do mine from home. And they said, no, you got good ratings. No, we want you here. So I threw a party for them. And they said, what's the occasion? I said, I'm not an under your thumb kind of guy. So you want to make walk away money. That if things aren't what you want them to be, you can walk away. When King World canceled my show, I made $4.6 million that year from public service, from public television, because I had a skill set that I could use in another area. It's a poor rat that only has one hole to get some cheese out of.
That's true.
Yeah, so we want to now use our knowledge, but most importantly, what you're doing now. I don't answer everybody.
That's true.
Relationship capital. You have relationship capital. I don't answer everybody. You have capital with me. I know who you are. You're a good man. You have a good heart. And you care about people. And so I'll respond to you. And so this is the time that we want to work on our mind, continuously learn. We're in the era of accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. And we need to reinvent ourselves. And we want to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. If you look at Tyler Perry, who built the largest studio in the world, and never took a theater class, kicking Hollywood's butt.
Never took a theater class.
And people leaving California by the droves. Disrupted the industry. What did he do? He found one thing that he mastered. We all have a calling. A job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. And he took my deer and milked it.
Yes.
And so we all came here with something in us, gifts of greatness. God asked Adam, where are you? Not because he didn't know. It was not a location question.
Come on.
Where are you? You're made in my likeness and image. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. Where are you? Life is a question, and how we live our lives is the answer. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I have to thank you, my friend. You're so amazing. You taught us today. This is clearly was a master course, and I'm excited, and I'm taking you up on this book. I am excited about the whole idea of that. I could write that book easily. All I gotta do is tell my truth, and whoop, there it is. You have inspired me for years. I mean, 20 years, 25 years. You've been inspiring me, and mainly because you've been like the ever-ready battery rabbit. You just keep going and going and going. You're almost like that story about the little caboose that could. You just, I think I can. You just don't stop. I don't care what you say. I can't believe you're 76. I don't believe that. I'm not buying that. You still driving on this the young 60 energy is still very prevalent in you. And look at how you glow. Look at the glow that comes out of you, because you know who you are. You know your purpose. You know your energy, your strength, and your lane, and you're taking it. And you're gracious enough to share it with us this evening. I am so grateful, and I thank you so much, sir.
I thank
Tell
you.
people.
You have answered the call of greatness on your life. We've been friends for a very long time, and I thank you for the positive influence you've been with my son, John Leslie. He's had his challenges, but now he's back, and he's running the company and trying to run me. I said,
yes,
happening, buddy. That ain't happening. Fool you, I still got a good right up in here.
That's right. Tell folks how they can find you if they want to reach out and take a course from you, or come to the seminars, or get the books. How many books do you have?
Well, I have a new book called You've Got to Be Hungry. Find you, my mother, my birth mother. They said she was hungry to learn. All right, then we go back to this. You got to be hungry, the greatness within to win. They can get that on Amazon. But the other thing is that they can go to Hungry to Speak. And I encourage them to get the orange package, because I train them every week. And we teach them how to take their knowledge, their expertise, their passion for what they believe and feel strongly about, and we teach them how to deliver a speech. Let me share with you what got me through. And because when I started speaking, I was the only African American doing it. If you wanted to help somebody in the Black community, say you ought to become a minister. I didn't want to become a minister because I needed too much prayer. I'm a baby Christian, let the record show. But the thing is that they were just regurgitating everything from Think and Grow Rich, providing information. Information only impacts 2 areas of the brain. I advance with a story about my mother. When you tell a story, Steve Jobs said the storyteller is the most powerful person in the world. Storytellers set the agenda, create the cultures and the collective thinking of people. And so when you tell a story, that impacts 5 areas of the brain, including the chemistry that we experience when we fall in love. So that's one thing. I advance with a story, not a story. Second thing that is major, that I create an experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea concept of experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And the other thing that's major, the speaking industry has been governed by the Dale Carnegie course. They teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them.
Right.
Mike Williams, who is my mentor for 51 years, he wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. I encourage everybody to get it. Wow. The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said, Brownie, never let what you want to say get in the way of what your audience wants to hear. Never let what you want to say get in the way of what your audience wants to hear. Conduct communications intelligence. Give them a needs assessment. What are the 5 takeaways that you want at the end of this presentation? What are the things you want said that you can't say that I'm a third-party validation? What is it that you want said that people can sink their teeth into? What is it that I should avoid saying? Because that won't work with this audience. Because there are audiences inside of each audience. And because I came in and asked those kind of strategic questions and took my story, you never make a point without a story, you never tell a story without a point, and create an experience, including going out in the audience and asking people, the top performers, how did you get here? And create that experience for them. That's how I dominate the industry. My goal was not to be a speaker or a black speaker, but to dominate it, to take no prisoners and eat the wounded and start at their ears like Mike.
Like Mike Tyson. You got to be hungry.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
And you've got to be, yes, and you've got to have humor. You know, I think that one of the greatest things God blessed us with is humor, because it's so healing. And as you spoke of Dr. Norman Cousins, who, as you know, ended up a professor at UCLA, and he's turned his whole life around with oranges, with vitamin C and comedy. He laughed and laughed and laughed. Well, he died anyway, but that was like 30-something years after he was told he's going to die. But then he had written 7 books. So humor is so healing. Laughter is so healing. If you put that, like you say, with a story, we should be able to lift society. Yeah. You know, it's my goal.
Yes, I agree with you 100%, man. And I'm so glad that you have favor with God.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that is true, because I really love God more than anything.
You'll be taking a dirt nap.
That's true. By now, all the stuff I've been through. But you know, I tell people too, I know what I've been through, 23 years of crack and now 10 years of pure sobriety. I've been through it because I know God, I'm going to talk about it. Yes, sir. I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about it everywhere. And I'm hoping that it's going to heal other people. They're going to hear the story and say, hey, if he did it, I can do it. And it'll turn people around. And people tell me every day that it does. You know, so I get 1 or 2 a day. I'm good.
Yes.
You are one of my heroes. I don't have many, sir, but you are one. God bless you real good. And thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you for living a life that will outlive you. That's it, my brother. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy and Michael Colyar's Pride and Joy. Bye.
I love you. Good night, everybody.